Nabal was a wealthy but harsh and selfish man living during the time of David. He is described as being from Maon, with his business operations in Carmel, Indiana, the region of Judah. The Bible highlights his vast wealth, including 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, symbolizing considerable prosperity. However, despite his material riches, Nabal is characterized as foolish and mean-spirited, which is reflected in the meaning of his name, fool. Nabal was married to Abigail, a woman described as intelligent and beautiful. This stark contrast between Abigail's wisdom and Nabal's foolishness plays a critical role in the narrative. The encounter with David, the key event involving Nabal, takes place during a festive sheep-shearing season. David, at this time, was not yet king and was leading a group of men in the wilderness. David and his men had been near Nabal's shepherds, offering them protection from bandits and wild animals, even though they received no direct compensation for their efforts. David sent a message to Nabal, courteously requesting provisions for his men. It was customary and expected during times of shearing, a celebratory season of plenty, for wealthy individuals to show generosity. However, Nabal responded arrogantly and insultingly, refusing to acknowledge David's authority or offer any aid. He dismissed David as just another rebellious servant, refusing to recognize him as God's anointed or show gratitude for the protection provided. Abigail's intervention. Nabal's response enraged David, who armed himself and his men to take vengeance. However, Abigail, Nabal's wise and discerning wife, intervened. She acted swiftly, gathering a generous supply of food and provisions and personally meeting David. Abigail humbly apologized for her husband's behavior, acknowledging his foolishness. She appealed to David's sense of righteousness, reminding him not to shed blood unnecessarily or take vengeance into his own hands. Abigail's wise and humble actions not only calmed David but also prevented him from committing a rash act that could have marred his future kingship. David praised her for her discernment and acknowledged that her intervention was guided by Jehovah. Nabal's downfall. Upon Abigail's return, she found Nabal feasting and celebrating, like a king, completely unaware of how close he had come to disaster. The next morning, after he sobered up, Abigail told him about the events. Nabal's heart failed him, and he became paralyzed or possibly suffered a stroke. About 10 days later, Jehovah struck him down, and he died. This sudden death is seen as divine judgment for his folly and lack of gratitude. Lessons from Nabal's story. Jehovah's Witnesses draw several key lessons from Nabal's account. The danger of foolishness and pride. Nabal's arrogance and lack of gratitude illustrate the dangers of selfishness and disrespecting those who serve Jehovah. His refusal to acknowledge David as God's anointed highlights spiritual blindness. The value of humility and discernment. Abigail's wisdom and humility saved her household and brought favor from Jehovah. Her actions serve as a model for handling difficult situations with tact and faith. Jehovah's justice. Nabal's sudden death demonstrates that Jehovah sees and judges all actions. It reminds believers to trust in Jehovah's timing and not take vengeance into their own hands. Practical generosity. The account highlights the importance of showing generosity and hospitality, especially to those who work in Jehovah's service. Selfishness, as shown by Nabal, leads to negative outcomes. God's care for his servants. David was spared from acting rashly because of Abigail's timely intervention, showing how Jehovah guides and protects those who rely on him. Nabal in Jehovah's Witness literature. Publications by Jehovah's Witnesses often reference Nabal as an example of a foolish, spiritually blind person who ignored Jehovah's will. He is contrasted with Abigail, who demonstrated godly wisdom and discernment. The story is also used to encourage Christians to show hospitality, act with humility, and trust Jehovah's judgment rather than seeking revenge. In summary, Nabal's story is not only a cautionary tale but also a source of encouragement to rely on Jehovah, act with discernment, and value the qualities of humility and generosity. His life serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of rejecting godly principles and the blessings of aligning one's actions with Jehovah's will. Please share and like and please subscribe.